look, when Jay signed his contract, the big one was with Beyonce. When he signed that contract, the marriage contract, he got trophies. Now those trophies, those trophies came rolling.
And the success is derived from the marriage.
I've absolutely been treated differently.
The accolades. Because he's no longer viewed as what, like a street or gangster rapper. Now he's viewed as a businessman, entrepreneur, family man.
And the biggest ones because of the position Beyonce's in.
Oh, wow.
Right? You were connected to the biggest.
Jay got it for the music. Jay got it for the music.
You didn't see.
He deserved those.
I'm sitting there, it was like this. Like.
Jay-Z ain't playing games. He's on a mission. And 50 Cent might have just messed with the wrong legend. The rap icon isn't sitting back after 50 dropped some wild accusations about his marriage to Beyonce. And this time, it's deeper than your usual rap beef. We're talking secret deals, shady footage, and claims that have fans clutching their phones in disbelief. Is Beyonce really being controlled like a puppet behind the scenes? That's what some are wondering after 50 Cent stirred the pot like never before. But here's the kicker. What if 50's not just trolling? What if he's exposing something real? This drama's getting crazier by the second. Now Jay-Z's clapping back. And honestly, 50 kinda brought this heat on himself. Let's be real, 50's been throwing shade at Jay for years. But this time, he crossed a whole new line.
Jay signed his contract. The big one was with Beyonce. When he signed that contract, the marriage contract, he got trophies. Now those trophies came rolling in, buddy. He started getting Grammys left and right, man. I mean, look, if you look at his career,
You're gonna let him say that?
Jay was getting Grammys.
he had one.
Exactly.
He had one.
And he ain't show up.
No, he has like 20 now.
Hold on.
He had like 18 since he been down. Look, he had one, bro. Hard Knock Life.
On the Flagrant podcast with Andrew Schultz, 50 came in hot, taking direct shots at Jay's empire and questioning the foundation it was built on. They were all laughs during the show, but the jabs hit deep. 50 flat out said Jay-Z wouldn't have what he has today if it wasn't for Beyonce. According to him, marrying Bey was the ultimate cheat code, a way for Jay to flip his whole image. Instead of being just another rapper with street roots, he became the polished family man everyone respects. And that move? It skyrocketed his brand like crazy. And if you thought that first bombshell was wild, brace yourself. 50 Cent wasn't even close to finished. The real jaw-dropper came when he pointed to a video of Beyonce and Jay-Z courtside, and fans were shook. In the clip, Bey looks completely out of it. Her eyes drifting, her energy low, like she's not even present. Sure, someone could argue she was just tired, but 50 ain't buying that excuse. He straight up claimed that Beyonce had been given something before that game, suggesting that her dazed look wasn't just exhaustion, it was something way deeper. And then came the Grammy footage that made things even messier. In the video, Jay-Z is seen trying hard to get Beyonce to take a drink, like really pushing it. But when she says no, his face changes fast, cold, annoyed, even kinda threatening. That moment had fans rewatching it in slow-mo, trying to figure out what was really going on. Why was he so set on making her drink it? It didn't sit right with a lot of people, and 50 wasn't shy about calling it out either. He went even further, saying the couple's dynamic looks more like master and servant than husband and wife. That's a serious accusation, and it had the internet spiraling. Then 50 dropped a deep industry cut that most folks never heard before. He brought up an interview with Bun B from UGK, talking about the early Destiny's Child days. Bun said that back when UGK and Destiny's Child were recording in the same building, Pimp C considered stopping by to meet the girls. Beyonce, young and starstruck, was excited, but her dad, Matthew Knowles, had a whole different angle. According to Bun, Matthew was actually trying to link Beyonce up with Pimp C, not for love, but to boost both of their careers. That's the kind of behind-the-scenes power play most fans never hear about. And 50 just dragged it into the spotlight.
And Jay-Z were at the Nets game, and y'all tell me what you think.
The same determination that is used to make Brooklyn a better place.
Y'all didn't hear the beat?
I heard the beat, but then the beat went away.
and she continued to rock and sway.
Sometimes when you're a musician, if she been in the studio or whatever, the beat is still in her head, and you know, she can hear the song, you know, and
there's something so intriguing about that couple, like, even though, you know, like, it makes it more interesting because you don't know what they were talking about. Like, are they having an argument?
Can we reenact it and let's see what they were talking about?
Now, I told you I wasn't about to get any popcorn now. I'm just tired, I'm flawless, and I'm tired, Jay-Z.
But what about some juju beads? I like juju beads, they're tasty.
I mean, yeah, I know, but it ain't about that right now.
Whoppers. Well, if you don't do it, I'm gonna put you where Solange's at. You can't even see her.
Oh, really? It's like that now? Okay, so let me call her.
Don't do that.
This whole thing points to one disturbing possibility. Beyonce might have been part of an industry setup from the very beginning. Pimp C turned down Matthew Knowles' pushy plan. But guess who didn't? Jay-Z. And here's where it gets even darker. Jaguar Wright claimed Beyonce was trained specifically to play a certain role in this entire game. Now, you might be tempted to call Jaguar a liar. But think about it for a second. Beyonce had it all: beauty, talent, fame. So why would someone like her link up with a man who had serious baggage? We're talking about a man on probation. That's right. Most fans don't realize this, but Jay-Z got into a violent altercation back in the day. He stabbed a man named Lance Rivera and was charged with third-degree assault. Though he pled not guilty, he ended up getting 3 years probation starting in early 2000. And guess what? Beyonce said she started dating Jay when she was 20, which places their relationship around 2001 or 2002, right when he was still on probation. That timeline doesn't lie. So the big question is, why would someone like Beyonce tie herself to a guy with that kind of past? Most people wouldn't. So maybe this wasn't about love at all. Maybe it was business. Maybe Jay-Z and Matthew Knowles struck some kind of behind-closed-doors deal. But here's the thing. Arrangements like that don't last unless control is tight. And if Jay really wanted to keep things locked down, just having a legal agreement wouldn't cut it. According to some, Jay needed Beyonce under his thumb, completely. That's where the substance talk comes in again. Some claim he didn't just make the rules, he made sure she stayed in line by keeping her dependent. Now that's a whole new level of disturbing, and it gets even messier. Some insiders are now whispering that Jay-Z's obsession with control didn't stop at business deals and image makeovers. It allegedly went as far as isolating Beyonce from the people closest to her. Fans have pointed out how Bey's once tight-knit circle started fading out one by one. Old friends, backup dancers, even family. Where did they all go? One theory making waves? Jay didn't just want a partner, he wanted full control over the brand called Beyonce. And that meant trimming out anyone who didn't fit the mold or might question what was happening behind closed doors. Some say he built a bubble around her so tight, she couldn't make a move without his stamp of approval. People online have also noticed how her public image shifted over time. From that bubbly young star with a loud laugh and carefree energy, to a quiet, polished icon who rarely shows emotion. And while some chalk that up to maturity or media training, others see it as a sign that something's been off for a while now. And let's not forget, Jaguar Wright didn't just speak on Bey's training. She claimed there were handlers involved. As in, people assigned to guide and watch Beyonce's every move. That's not normal. That's not marriage. That sounds like a controlled environment. If any of this is even half true, it paints a chilling picture. Beyonce, the biggest female artist in the world, might have been molded, managed, and manipulated from day one. And 50 Cent is throwing all this into the light now, daring fans to take a closer look. Is it a reach? Or is he onto something major? It might sound like some wild conspiracy, but let's be real. This ain't the first time a powerful man in the industry's been accused of controlling his partner. Just look at what went down with Diddy and Cassie. That situation opened people's eyes. And now folks are re-examining everything. So thinking Jay-Z might have done something similar with Beyonce? Not so far-fetched anymore. And here's where things get even sketchier. Over the years, multiple blind items have popped up hinting at Bey's alleged substance use. One in particular sent shockwaves through fan circles. It described a superstar who seemed to have the perfect life. Beauty, fame, money, a husband, kids, the works. But behind that polished image, a serious dependency on a high-powered substance, not weed. We're talking about a top-tier stimulant, the kind that keeps you up and running no matter what. According to that blind, her casual use spiraled fast. What started as an occasional boost reportedly turned into a full-blown daily routine. And the source even said they were shocked at how deep it went. Fans always thought maybe she smoked a little here and there. But this? Nobody saw that coming. And here's where things connect again. Some folks say the reason for this struggle can be traced straight back to her inner circle. More specifically, Jay-Z. The blind even flat out says, she has no one to blame for this but Jay. That's heavy. And to be fair, Jay-Z's past isn't squeaky clean. Actor Faison Love once blasted Jay, saying he exaggerated parts of his street history. But the fact remains, Jay himself has openly talked about growing up around drugs and even selling them. In that Oprah interview, he walked through the Marcy projects and said straight up, living there was a matter of survival. Jay-Z wasn't bluffing about his past. He lived it straight up. Back in the 1980s, when the crack epidemic was tearing communities apart, 13-year-old Jay got deep into the hustle. After his father walked out when he was just 11, the streets became his blueprint. Like a lot of kids back then, his role models weren't ball players or teachers. They were the local dealers making fast money and commanding respect. Jay once said that in the streets, you had to operate with integrity.
5 days later, I get a call from Beyonce's assistant saying, hey, are you available? Are you ready to get back in the studio tomorrow? And I said, what do you mean? B's in Italy, isn't she? She's not due to be back for another 10 days or so. And she's like, yeah, no, she's coming back early. She's ready to get back in the studio. And I thought, wow, we've been working so hard. You've only been gone for 5 days and you're ready to get back. That is insane to me. That's dedication.
If you broke your word, no one was taking you to court. They were handling it right then and there. That environment taught him loyalty, power moves, and survival instincts most people can't even imagine. So if he did want to keep someone under control, he'd know exactly how to do it. But is there any solid proof that points to Jay using that street knowledge in his personal life? Actually, yeah, there are signs. Over the years, body language experts have looked closely at how Jay and Beyonce interact, and some of the things they've noticed are hard to ignore. Take this one photo, for example. At first glance, it looks sweet, Jay holding Beyonce close as they walk. But Blanca Cobb, a respected body language expert from North Carolina, noticed something off. She said it's more natural for a couple to walk side by side, in sync. In this shot, the lower halves of their bodies are moving together, sure, but Jay's grip on her arm tells a different story. While Beyonce has a soft smile and even relaxed toes, Cobb pointed out that Jay's hand looks more like he's holding her back rather than guiding her. It's subtle, but it screams possessive energy. It's like his body is saying, you're mine. Don't move unless I say so. At first glance, it might not seem like a big deal, just another couple photo. But when you really break it down, something feels off. Fans have even said it out loud. The vibe's strange. And body language expert Blanca Cobb didn't hold back when she explained why. In one particular pic, Jay-Z's got his hand wrapped around Beyonce's neck. Not her waist, not her back, but her neck. That's not a typical loving gesture. Cobb pointed out that it's awkward and possessive. She didn't straight up call it toxic, but she made it clear. When someone touches you like that in public, it's often a sign of control. There were way softer, more natural ways to hold her, so why choose that? And then there's Beyonce's body language. Instead of leaning in or returning the touch, she seems distant, almost like she's just going along with it. Cobb couldn't fully read her expression since her face wasn't visible in that moment, but the physical distance between them said plenty. The key word here? Possessive. Jay-Z appears to be marking his territory, constantly using public affection to remind the world that Beyonce belongs to him. Now, to some, that might seem romantic. But others are raising eyebrows, saying it looks more like he's treating her like a prize or a property instead of a partner. And Cobb made another big observation. Jay is clearly way more into touching and showing affection than Beyonce is. She's rarely the one reaching out first. He's the one grabbing, holding, pulling her close. Meanwhile, She just lets it happen. So the question is, why doesn't she initiate more affection with the man she calls her husband, her children's father? Why is her energy so muted in these moments? All signs point to one thing. This wasn't a love story, it was a straight-up business deal. And that's not just gossip anymore. Beyoncé's former bodyguard came forward and said it himself. Now, this isn't some anonymous source hiding behind a blind item or leaking to shady blogs. This is someone who was right there behind the scenes, watching it all unfold. Ron, the man hired to protect Beyoncé. And what he said had fans gasping for air. According to Ron, not only was Bey and Jay's marriage a contract arrangement, he also backed up the long-standing rumor that Beyoncé's been using substances. He didn't suggest it, he confirmed it. But here's where things get extra strange. Ron has completely vanished. Up until just a few months ago, he was online stirring the pot, dropping bombshells, and giving fans all kinds of behind-the-scenes tea. Then suddenly, silence, gone without a trace. Now fans are spiraling with theories. Some believe he may have passed away under mysterious circumstances. Others think he went into hiding, possibly because the truth he was spilling put a serious target on his back. Either way, his disappearance only made people more suspicious. And here's the wild part. The only reason someone would want to make Ron disappear is if he wasn't lying. If his stories about Bey being controlled and using substances were just nonsense, nobody would care. And honestly, if Jay-Z was slipping substances to Beyoncé, it would explain a whole lot. Because let's be real, there's been plenty of talk about Bey struggling with substance use over the years. She's always painted herself as clean-cut in interviews, but insiders are telling a different story. One music producer even spilled the tea about a moment in the studio that left him shook. He said Bey accidentally poisoned herself with 5-hour energy. Yeah, the little bottles you find at gas stations, because she drank way too many of them trying to stay awake for over 40 hours straight. That's almost 2 full days just to bang out 6 songs. 6! Most people would have crashed hours before that, but not Beyoncé. She just kept going, and going, and going. By the time they were halfway through, the producer admitted he needed a boost. That's when Bey showed him exactly how far she was willing to push herself. And it wasn't cute. She powered through like a machine, but it ended up making her sick. So sick, she had to cancel a whole vacation that was planned right after the session. At first, fans were clapping for her. Queen behavior, they said. She's a perfectionist. But step back for a second. That's not just work ethic, that's obsession. That's someone who doesn't know when to stop. And if she's really been getting dosed for years, as some suggest, maybe it's not just habit. Maybe it's survival. Some folks believe her nervous system might be fried from all the pushing, all the stimulants, all the late nights, that she physically can't function without something in her system anymore. And if that's true, then we're not just talking about fame, we're talking about control. The red flags in this marriage are stacking higher and higher, and 50 Cent might have just yanked the curtain wide open. So what do you think? Is Beyoncé trapped in a business arrangement disguised as love? And is Jay-Z really coming for 50 for daring to say it out loud? Let us know in the comments. Drop your thoughts, like if you're still with us, hit that subscribe so you don't miss the next bombshell. And we'll see you in the next one.